Box. It's time for our podcast.
It's Friday then. It's Saturday, Sunday. What?
You're listening to the Pit Wall Girls podcast, hosted by Darlene and Adriana.
We had an off race weekend and we were also off from the podcast for a week, but now we are back after what turned out to be an exciting last 6 laps of the Imola Grand Prix.
A little bit of the race was exciting, yes.
A little bit of the race, like last stint was actually like, I was jumping on my couch, if I'm totally honest. Like I jumped and rolled over my couch because I was just like, get under 1 second. So if you don't know what we're talking about, Lando almost became Lando Two Wins this past weekend.
So close.
In Imola, so close by 0.7 seconds from crossing the finish line before Max Verstappen.
Crazy.
Yeah. You know what? Haters will say that if Lando would have won, it's because Max was sleep deprived. Because Max was not only racing in Formula One this weekend, but he was racing in some sort of like online 24-hour situation. Do you know anything about that? Because that's as far as I know.
So Max is on an iRacing team, which is like sim racing online competitions.
Yeah.
And he's on an iRacing team that was doing the Nürburgring 24 hours. So he had a stint after quali. So quali, was in the afternoon at 8:45. He was in his sim iRacing for 2.5 hours, went to sleep. His other teammates had some turns, wakes up, does another 2 hours, and then goes and races the Grand Prix.
You really gotta love racing. Wow. And you win the Grand Prix. Did he win the 24 hours?
He won both races that day, yes.
Oh, wow. Look at that. Just another day in the life of Max Verstappen. But
they were joking that Formula One was his like side hobby, and he was doing his real job in the
I mean, at this point, there is a quote that he said that he's already achieved all his goals in Formula One, so everything is just bonus extras at this point.
Crazy.
Yeah. Well, let's jump into a quick little race recap because, like we said, it was exciting towards the end, but the beginning was, not too much action going on. And then we are going to talk about the driver market because the grid is hot and just headlines. So want to kick it off with the race weekend? Oh, we didn't introduce ourselves. I'm Darlene. If you're new here, welcome.
I'm Nako. Hello, welcome.
Welcome to Pit Wall Girls. Okay, race recap.
Yeah, so, people were kind of worried about what was going to happen this weekend just because a lot of teams are bringing some upgrades. We didn't know if McLaren was just a fluke last weekend. So Ferrari, Merc, Ferrari, Mercedes, Haas, and Aston Martin all brought pretty big. I think Ferrari's was at least a pretty big upgrade. So people are like, what's going to happen? And then, there's some action in FP3 in terms of Checo and Alonso both crashing.
Yeah.
In FP3, which I think actually probably affected both of their races.
They
both didn't have the best race.
Especially Alonso, his car looked pretty messed up.
Especially Alonso. Yeah, I think he definitely messed up his car.
So there's definitely talks that the Ferrari upgrade was going to be so great and was definitely going to put the Ferraris to compete with the Red Bull. But then we have Carlos saying that the upgrades were actually not as big as we all thought and that he had been trying to vocalize that they weren't going to be as great. So that's kind of interesting to have him say something opposing to what was believed the Ferrari and their upgrades.
Yeah, I don't know. And I feel like there were some pretty major ones just visually, like optically. I know people have been breaking it down, but I don't know. I think he's just feeling a little spicy, just feeling like a little antagonistic right now.
I think he is. He's been missing the podium action. So I feel like Carlos and Oscar Piastri have a little bit of beef.
Yeah, now they do.
Yeah.
After these 2 weekends, they do. Yeah, they were fighting in Miami and they were fighting again a little bit. Except this time it was McLaren's strategy that outdid Ferrari's strategy. Ferrari had a little bit of a strategy issue, which we haven't really seen from them this year, and we thought it was over. But no, the strategy issues are back a little bit. In that Piastri, was behind Sainz for a while and undercut him. And that strategy worked, and Sainz didn't follow him into the pit. and that helped Piastri overtake Sainz pretty easily. That was pure strategy. Ferrari's back with strategy errors.
Yeah. Was Javi still Charles Leclerc's race engineer this race? Yeah, right. One last race.
I don't know. I thought it was a new engineer, but maybe you're right.
Oh, wait. I think we actually said that it was crazy because he was going to have a new race engineer in Monaco. So this was probably the last race with Javi.
The last race with them.
So we will see chaos next weekend, potentially.
Maybe. Potentially. Yeah. But yeah, so that was Ferrari's race. I guess going back to quali, you know, we were wondering whether Ferrari's going to do well with the upgrades, but yeah, it didn't help them that much. McLaren's looked really, really fast. But in the end, Verstappen was looking really fast too, and ended up getting pole. But yeah, what did you think? Do you have any takeaways from quali before we get into the race?
No, I don't. It was very exciting to see Oscar Piastri qualify P2, but unfortunately he got a 3-place grid penalty drop, so he didn't get to start in P2. And he is like a comedic king, and he posted, you know, the pictures of him with Max and Lando, like top 3 finishers, and he goes, it was nice while it lasted.
Yeah,
but
a little self-deprecation from Piastri.
But nothing major happened in quali, I thought, right? Yeah.
No, just McLaren's looked fast. Ferrari's didn't look as fast. And yeah, Verstappen ended up getting pole. But it was pretty close.
Yeah.
So yeah, the starting grid. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I didn't actually see Alonso's crash in FP3.
Yeah, it was right at the start of FP3, and they were working on his car for the whole time. But clearly, he was having some issues because during the race, we saw his front brakes catch on fire. He was literally on fire. So that's never a sight you want to see, really.
He just kept going. They blew out on themselves. It was like a birthday candle.
No big deal, just a casual fire. But yeah, no, he had a really bad weekend. He wasn't starting very high on the grid anyway. One thing was that Yuki started the grid at P7. He got P7 in quali. So that was like, I think his best quali performance. Yeah. But he lost a lot of pace right at the beginning at the jumps. He ended up the race like P10. I thought he had a pretty strong weekend.
P10 loves Yuki. He's always P11, P10, so at least he got a point this time.
Yeah. So I think you can tell, like, we're kind of, you know, jumping around the topic of, like, trying to figure out what to talk about the race, because really the only action of note happened right at the end of the race, like, literally with, like, 7 laps to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's really, like, all we can really talk about this race, because the rest of the race was, like, not the funnest to watch, to be honest. Like, there wasn't a lot of overtaking that was happening. Overtaking looked really, really hard. I think people were thinking maybe it was going to be a tire thing. For the most part, everyone was the same strategy.
Yeah, they were using the 3 softest tires, too.
Yeah.
The
compound. In the end, the Norris Verstappen action really saved this race. But if it weren't for that, I don't think we would have had much to talk about today.
And honestly, I feel like if you're not a Lando fan, you probably didn't even care that much, because it's just like your driver.
I mean, it's still
exciting. They were racing to the finish line. But I mean, my heart rate was through the roof. I was jumping around because it was just so exciting to see like how lap after lap, the time between Max and Lando was going down.
Yeah.
Like, it was a huge gap. I think I sent to you on Instagram. There's a graphic and it just shows it going down
faster and faster. And it was crazy because, okay, like I was kind of zoning in and out of this race, to be honest, you know, because there wasn't much going on.
Yeah.
So I remember like taking a note being like, lap 44, Leclerc's within DRS of Lando now. Because at one point, Leclerc seemed to be really catching Lando. And that's what I was focused on. I was looking at the live timing and I was like, Leclerc's lapping faster than Lando. Leclerc's going to catch up to Lando. Yeah, like, you know, I texted you like, oh, Leclerc might catch Lando. And then I kind of zone out a bit.
So did I. I was like, yeah.
And then I like look back at the screen. And then the next note I have is lap 55. Norris is catching Verstappen now.
Yep.
So
at that
really
point, I was running around my house like, Lando 2 wins, Lando 2 wins. So I really do think that if Lando wins another race, like within the next 5 races, his next merch line is going to say Lando Two Wins. And if he doesn't do that, like missed opportunity, because that one I will buy. So I hope someone from his team is listening to this and they get that Lando Two Win merch going. Like scratch out the no 2 times, X out the no and write 2.
And you can just keep adding to it over time, you know, it's kind
Yeah,
of like
it's
a
kind of
continuous
genius.
merch line.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, so at one point there was a stretch of like, I don't know, 10 laps where it just was like every lap he was lapping faster than Verstappen and faster than Verstappen, and the gap was getting smaller and smaller. And I was just like, how many laps are left? Is it going to happen? Is he going to catch him?
The team
and then
radio.
Yeah, the team radio. Like there's a lot of radio messages.
He's like,
between Lando.
I'm pushing, mate. Thanks. Thank you. Like,
Thanks.
all the
He was like
Lando
being sassy,
yeah,
but polite. You know, he was saying thank you. No, but it was crazy because he entered the last lap with just around 1 second, like between him and Max. So he had just missed the detection point for DRS right before the last lap that would have given it to him in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
He was like right over 1 second at that point, and then he finally gets under 1 second, and it seems like he's catching him. And you know, after the race, he said that if he just had a few more laps.
Yeah, I think he even said just like a few miles. Like he didn't even need 2 laps, but it was fun to watch Zach on the pit wall too. Like, yeah.
So I thought that was interesting. I feel like even if you are an Orlando fan, it's just like fun to see maybe Max not winning, like at the very, very end, just like when you're still not sure who's going to win the race by the last lap. I feel like that's a pretty fun experience.
Yeah, so basically that was Imola. Should we tell them the finisher? So it was Max Verstappen, Lando Norris, Charles, Oscar, Carlos, Lewis, George, Sergio, Lance in P10, and Yuki in P10. Very interesting. George has had such a quiet season, don't you think so?
Yeah, and George was doing weird stuff during this race where he, you know, pitted earlier and then like wanted to get the place back. Like they wanted him to swap him and Hamilton or something, and then they didn't. So there's like weird stuff going on. Like they were clearly trying to go at each other because they weren't really near anybody else. But yeah, I don't know. George has not really popped, but the Mercedes has just not been a good car though. So I feel like, you know, it's hard to evaluate whether that's the driver or just the car's not been good.
Yeah, I'm looking at the current driver standing for the whole season. And interesting, Charles is in P2. I mean, he's had a couple of podiums, but I would have thought Lando was P3, P2. He's in P4 with 101 points.
I mean, he's getting a lot closer. And if Checo keeps being like this up and down, and Lando keeps podiuming, like he's going to catch him pretty like. So right now, Sergio Perez has 107 points and Lando Norris is 101.
Yeah.
So
and Carlos 93.
Has 113. Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's only race 7. We're going to race 8 now. Yeah, it's early. To Monaco, which I will be in the south of France. If I will be at the race is a whole other story. If anybody's listening and would like to sponsor me, offer accepted gladly. I cannot believe that I'm going to Monaco. Actually, I don't believe it because it's like not 1,000% official yet. But I'll be there. So we'll see what happens. I'm still recovering.
Yeah,
I'm literally still recovering from Miami. Every day I just have like new respect for everyone in motorsports. Traveling is exhausting.
Yeah, imagine like every weekend a new continent.
Yeah. Oh gosh, those circadian rhythms. But yeah, I will try to share anything I can from the ground. I'm sure that, you know, it's going to be very busy. Everybody knows Monaco and F1 go hand in hand. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I would love to be on a walk. I'm going to manifest this. I would love to be on a walk and just like almost step on a little dog. And then it's Leo Leclerc. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. And, you know, just run into Charles and his girlfriend because his dog is so little. And Carlos was giving us the content we wanted this weekend. He was giving us the behind the scenes in the paddock of Charles's dog just like pooping in the middle of the paddock.
And then Charles is like, not in the middle of the paddock. You know?
Yeah, like have some decency. But He's obsessed with his little dog. It's actually his child.
So cute. Really cute. I would be obsessed too.
Yeah, just be on the lookout for some dog content on the stories, and hopefully it's Roscoe or Leo Leclerc.
I mean, Monica's not very big, you know?
Yeah. We'll see. Okay, what else do we have on our agenda? But the race might not have been super duper exciting at the beginning, but I think that's why we end up sitting and watching to the very last lap, because you never know what's going to happen. But there is definitely excitement going on with the driver market and headlines. So us as Americans, we were very excited to hear that there is potentially going to be a Chicago GP, and the rumors seem to be, you know, pretty legit, but they've been debunked for now. So I do think that Chicago 2026 is really close. So maybe it's like a 2027 project. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the fundamental question is, do we need another US race? I feel like that's what a lot of people are asking. I don't know. It could be cool, but I know like some people are upset because there are a lot of like globally, there are a lot of historic F1 tracks that don't have races right now. And so people would prefer F1 bring back like an old track that used to be on the calendar than bring in like another US.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear that the track in South Africa that Lewis Hamilton always raves about. It starts with a K. I believe it starts with a K. Kaliman. Am I confusing this for like an ACOTAR word? If you read Sarah J. Maas, sounds like something that would be in her books. But yes, I'll find it and let you know and let you guys know what it is. But I believe that Lewis always says that they need to bring back the South African race.
Yeah. Because, I don't know. Because Chicago, would it be a street race?
I think
like
so.
A street track?
Yeah.
I feel like people just don't want more street tracks, you know?
Yeah. I like a street track in the city. I feel like it's accessible.
I mean, it'll be cool. Yeah. I mean, I would enjoy it because it would be much easier for me to plan going to one.
Yeah.
You know, to Chicago, but.
The Windy City.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. The Windy City, that would take a lot of strategic planning for the race, the wind.
Yeah. And it would probably affect the race. Even this weekend in like Imola, it was pretty windy, I think, during some of the free practices and maybe the quali. So that was actually affecting people. People were going off track on one of the turns. So wind makes a pretty big difference. It makes it, you know, way harder to turn. Especially because like in Imola, there was a wind that was going right in the direction of one of the corners. Yeah, Chicago race. Could be interesting. I don't know.
We'll see. Well, rumors debunked for the time being. And we go back to the hottest agent, Adrian Newey, who did say he wanted to join a different F1 team. So we know he won't be retiring and he will be going somewhere else.
Yeah, and Red Bull is not, you know, doing too well with that news because they decided to ban Adrian Newey from all like key internal meetings. Adrian Newey's banned from the design meetings from Red Bull now. So he won't get to participate in that because I'm sure Red Bull doesn't want him taking any secrets with him. But he didn't get the gardening leave thing. I think he just like his contract ends, but instead they're keeping him out of meetings and making sure that, you know, he can't take secrets with him this way.
Okay, well, we will see where he ends up. I have no idea. There's too many moving parts right now to even say where he'll end up. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Ferrari signing Mercedes employees. Take it away.
Well, yeah, so there's 2 employees from Mercedes that are embedded in the team, and Ferrari signed them. So one is going to be the deputy team principal, which I don't really knew what that meant. And then the other one's going to be the head of the driver academy. So, you know, doing stuff.
Yeah.
It's funny. There were like
I
memes,
also didn't know what deputy team principal meant, but I know who the key personnel from Mercedes are, because if you watch the races, whenever they zoom in on Toto, these 2 guys are always standing by him. Yeah. So I knew the faces. I didn't know the names.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's a guy who wears glasses and he has blue eyes. Yeah.
Got it.
He used to be
So
a racer.
specific.
Yeah, it's because I always thought that he looked like the person who played Spider-Man. Did we not have this conversation last time? Oh my God, who did I have this conversation with? Who is the actor that plays one of the Peter Parkers? Not Andrew Garfield. Tobey Maguire.
Okay, Tobey Maguire. Okay.
So the first time that I saw him on F1 TV, I was like, oh my God, a guest of Mercedes. And then I was like, wait a minute, that's not Tobey Maguire. That's like somebody, because he was in Gear. I'm like, wow, he's a big fan. So it's just always been in my head. And then like I always see him. So I knew he was somebody big, but I didn't know exactly his position. Yeah, but he's going to be deputy team principal at Ferrari now.
Yeah, and it's funny, there were memes that I saw that was like Mercedes in 2024, and it was the whole team picture. And then it was Mercedes in 2025, and everybody else was photoshopped out. It was just Toto and George in the middle, and everybody else was gone.
I actually saw like same concept of a meme. It was like somebody DJing, and then when you look down, it was like one person partying with the DJ.
Yeah, so yeah, Mercedes is losing a lot of personnel. Obviously, they're losing Hamilton to Ferrari. Now there's other people going to Ferrari. Yeah, and no talks of who will replace any of these people. No talks of who will replace Lewis Hamilton still, which I know we'll get to in our little Guess the Grid thing. But yeah, Mercedes is losing a lot of people.
You know, it's super interesting and like funny when Toto says something because he says it so official, but he was saying that they had been getting a lot of CVs from Red Bull, but it seems like CVs from Mercedes are also flying out to other teams. So he's like, yeah, Zach is right. We're getting a lot of resumes, but your resumes are also flying out.
Flying out the door. Yeah. It's a two-way street right now. But
it's a big shuffle.
Yeah, it's a big shuffle, so we don't really know what's going on there. And I feel like there's just like still a lot of question marks with Mercedes. They're not having a good year, and it doesn't seem like it's going to get any better now that they're losing all these people. So poor George, I guess.
Yeah, it's funny. He thought he was going to go to Mercedes and become World Drivers Champion.
Yeah, he thought he was going to go to one of the best teams, and he's in like a midfield team.
Basically.
So, yeah.
Well, I do wish the best for all the drivers. Like, I love them all. But, yeah, I have nothing else to comment on.
Yeah.
But let's talk about Sebastian Vettel always doing such wholesome activities. And this weekend, it was the 30-year anniversary of Ayrton Senna, who died at this GP. So Vettel, he led a run and he got everybody shirts with their numbers on them. Max wasn't wearing one. And of course, people love to talk. There's a big question mark why Max was in his Red Bull kit and everybody else was wearing the shirt. And,
I heard that it was because his shirts got stolen.
Yes.
Right before the race, right?
Yeah. Not only Max's. Yeah. Because the comments on social media were like a bit controversial about why he wasn't wearing the shirts or whatever. But yeah, apparently somebody just stole his shirt. They were personalized. So it either had a number 1 on it or I assume it had a number 1 or maybe a 33. Was that his old number?
Was it? I don't know.
Yeah, I think he was 33. It got stolen.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
People were joking, like, this is like the disrespect to, F1 or whatever, but no, it just got stolen.
Yeah, he just didn't have one. Someone disrespected him. But yes, okay. So let's move on to Guess the Grid, which for those who are new and listening here, it's our version of silly season because we're essentially guessing the grid for 2025. And sometimes even for 2024, but not right now. Everybody's put for the time being. Bottas was seen walking out of the hospitality suite. Yeah, and then I think there's
Williams, right?
Haas,
okay.
Yeah, I think there's rumors about him also having talked to James.
Yeah.
So
okay, I think that's what I saw. So he was seen coming out of the Haas hospitality suite, but he was also reported that he was talking to James Vowles, who's the Williams team principal.
Yeah, he's been a busy man. So what I gather from this is that Audi does not want him. So he is looking for other options because I actually think Bottas at Audi with Hülkenberg would make a really good pairing and team. Yeah, but it seems like
Yeah, and I don't know what's going on there. So they already signed Hulkenberg, right? Kickstarter did.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So that means that really the only seat open is the one that people speculated would be Carlos Sainz's seat.
Mm-hmm. Apparently, Audi has
So
extended their ultimatum, telling Carlos he
yeah,
has until the 26th this time before
I feel like
Monaco.
we've heard that a couple times.
Yeah.
At this point, I think this is like the third time we're hearing another ultimatum
Yeah.
from them to be like, you have to sign by tonight.
Yeah.
But yeah, that hasn't happened yet. But I don't know if this is like good for signs, him taking longer and longer. Like, at some point the offer might not be there anymore. So I feel like he should make his decision pretty soon. But yeah, it seems like they're still holding out on him.
Yeah. Honestly, I think that Carlos is going to end up at Mercedes for 1 year, and there might be still that Audi seat for him available in 2026. And Carlos wants like a long-term contract, but I don't know. What do you want, a long-term contract with Mercedes, how they're doing right now?
No.
No.
Honestly, no. I feel like right now you don't really want a long-term contract with anyone
I
because
agree.
you don't know what the cars are going to be like with the new regulations. So you don't really know which team is going to be the most dominant.
Mm-hmm.
You can make a guess, but a couple of years ago we would have said the Mercedes would still be dominant this year, and they're not. So, yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know if I would commit to anyone.
Yeah. Well, did we share that Alex Albon has extended his contract with Williams?
I don't know.
If
I
not,
think
we
might not
just
have recorded that
did.
week.
Yay,
Yay!
Alex, you're staying on the grid with Williams, who is not doing great. But this could be a McLaren situation. It really could. McLaren was basically dead
Yeah.
last year, and now look at them winning races, fighting for wins, and they made a commitment to Lando, and it seems like they're delivering, and Lando made a commitment to them. So the situation can be the same for Williams and Alex. Like maybe it's not going to be next year, but maybe it'll be in 2027, 2028, and Alex is okay waiting that long.
I mean, yeah, he's still really young.
Yeah, as
So
long as he gets to be the number one driver.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. And it'll be James Vowles' like third
Mm-hmm.
season next year or something.
Yes.
So,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this is the time where, you got rid of some of the historic weaknesses of the team. You're fixing a lot of stuff. And I feel like year 3 or so, he can really build on what he's been building already and take advantage of it. So I think it'll be interesting to see Williams in the next couple of years. But yeah, his teammate is not yet confirmed. So
I
still
think
don't
it's
know if it'll be
crazy
Logan
that
Sargent or
yeah. I think it's crazy that that Logan Sargent is still even a contender. Like, how has he not lost his seat yet?
I mean, I don't know if he's a contender. I just feel like we haven't heard about who might replace him, but I don't feel like he's a contender.
I think James something along the lines. What was it that he said? He said Logan knows he might lose his seat.
Yeah.
It wasn't like Logan knows he doesn't have a seat next year. Logan thinks he might be losing his seat. So the might, I mean.
Might, yeah. I don't know. I feel like that man is costing that team so much money, and it's a team that doesn't have that much money. So I feel like it would be a mistake to keep Logan Sargent there. Who would you want to see with Albon though in a Williams?
Gasly. Yeah, actually, I think they'd be a good team pairing.
Yeah, I could see it.
I could see it. Yeah,
it would be kind of a tough blow for Gasly. I think he had such high expectations for himself. I think
yeah, but can Alpine deliver?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I think he had kind of high expectations for Alpine too before he joined because we thought they would make a big improvement.
So we should talk about the T, but apparently on the radio, Gasly said, "What's going on? Like, I was supposed to be prioritized this weekend, and you're giving preference to Ocon, and like this always happens." So spicy team radio message there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is spicy.
Cue bad blood between these two.
I mean, I feel like they've always had bad blood.
Yeah,
they're always just
they're
putting
on
at each other's throats.
A smile, like, yeah, we're gonna get along, and like we grew up together and we're past that. But I think they just hate each other more and more.
I mean, they're like constantly crashing into each other, or
Yeah.
like almost crashing into each other.
That Miami lap 1 will forever live in my head. Yeah.
Because we've
Okay.
already seen it, you know?
Yeah. Okay, so who do you think won't have a seat next year? Bottas, Magnussen, again, Gasly, Ocon?
Or people who don't have a seat yet, yeah, for next year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think Bottas will get a seat. I don't know about Magnussen. I don't know about Logan. And I really do think that either Gasly or Ocon will be seatless in 2024. Oh, thanks. This is why we don't record at 9 p.m.
Yeah, if something seems off with us right now, it's like 9 p.m.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2025, you don't think so? Ocon or Gasly?
I have like this feeling that one of them is not going to be with Alpine. I can't see them both re-signing their contracts for
Right.
2025.
But you don't think they'll have a seat, or like they'll go somewhere else?
It's just like, where would they go? I mean, we have Ollie Behrman, who practiced FP1 this weekend at Haas, and he did well. I really see him getting a seat in 2025. And then, there's the infamous Andrea Antonelli, who, he might take the Williams seat. So where would either Gasly or Ocon really go?
That's true. So the Williams seat is still open, and technically the Kickstarter seat, we still don't really know what's going on there. Haas, so you mentioned Ollie Behrman, who's more or less confirmed-ish with Haas, but the other seat is still open.
Yeah.
And then like Red Bull, we don't really know what Red Bull is doing, and we don't know what V-Carb will do. So there's still seats sort of up for grabs.
Yeah. Well, the Mercedes seat. I think that once that Mercedes seat is filled, the rest of the grid will fall into place.
You think that's the main thing? Like if it's Sainz,
Yeah.
Then that Kickstarter seat opens up, and
if
like
Carlos
a lot of
signs at Mercedes, then we know for sure Max is staying at Red Bull, because it's Red Bull or it's Mercedes. I can't see it being anywhere else.
Like Max goes to Audi.
Yeah, Max goes to Sauber. Like, yeah, right. Can you imagine? Oh my God, way. Max in that green.
No, it would be weird to see him in any other color.
Okay. Well, what else? Is there anything else?
No, I think we're still just waiting to hear more updates on, the grid. Usually it does happen over the summer break. Like I think, a lot of conversations happen over the summer break. So that's coming up in a few weeks. I think then it'll really be silly season, and we'll have a better idea.
Yeah. Okay. Let's give our predictions for Monaco.
Oof.
Because we're not recording a Monaco preview. So, Monaco speaks
it's a short turnaround. Yeah.
Yeah. Monaco speaks for itself. It's Monaco. Charles Leclerc is cursed. Will he finally win his home race at Charles Leclerc's home race? TBD. Monaco's always a great time. I'm going to give my predictions. Okay. So, I think Lando's going to win in Monaco. He'll become Lando Two Wins, and I'll hopefully be there to experience it. I'll be the real good luck charm. If he won in Miami and he wins in Monaco, I am calling
and you're
McLaren.
There. Yeah.
Please, can I have season passes for eternity, essentially?
Yeah. He'll win every time.
Yeah. I think that Charles will not win. He will get P3.
Will he podium? Okay, he'll podium.
He'll podium. And Max will get P2. So it'll essentially be the same podium from Miami. And, it was a very similar podium to what we had in Imola, just different order. But I also think that Carlos is not here to play. And if he can win a race to prove himself, it's this one. So I almost want him to win more than I want Lando to win Monaco. Spicy.
Yeah, he needs to break the curse.
Yeah. What do you think?
So Monaco is all about quali times, because it's really hard to overtake. It's really pretty much whoever gets pole is going to be really likely to win the race, just because that's just what Monaco is like, super narrow, really twisty. So I don't know. I feel like though I sort of feel like Leclerc is gonna pull and then he's gonna have a devastating DNF again. Like, I don't think he's gonna be able to break the curse for some reason. I feel like something devastating is gonna happen. He's gonna look so good in quali.
I think he's like working through the curse, honestly. So I don't think it'll be as bad as him DNFing, but I don't think he's gonna win. Unless
I'm
he
gonna
did
say,
some great mindset work. I'm not sure it's happening just yet.
yeah, I'm gonna say that Leclerc devastatingly DNFs in the
Okay.
Grand Prix. So I'm gonna also predict Lando to win, Max to get second, and Piastri to come in
Ooh!
third for a double McLaren podium.
Yeah, McLaren sandwich. Yeah.
I mean, I feel like Piastri wants it. He looked really fast this week. Like in quali, it was unfortunate that he got that impeding penalty because if he had started P2, I think he would have
McLaren
had
would have
really
won
good.
the race, I think. Better
He would have had
strategy.
really, really good pace. He was looking really fast in qualifying. So he just had bad grid starting position. So yeah, I feel like he hasn't been on the podium yet this season. So
Yeah. I
he's
think
gone fourth place a couple times.
Oscar and Carlos are both very hungry. Maybe they have some battling. Can't really battle on
Again,
Monaco.
yeah. I mean, it's hard to battle there, and if you do, it might be a safety car. So.
Okay. Yeah, so we'll see how close our predictions are. We didn't do fave, oh my God moment, what WTF of the race, because there wasn't that much. And if you know us by now, we're probably going to have the same answer. And it was all those last 10 laps of the race.
Yeah.
So I hope you enjoy this episode. Follow along on socials. I'll try to post as much Monaco content as I can. But please subscribe to our podcast, leave us a rating. And if you're on YouTube, subscribe and leave a comment. Ooh. And we will see you after Monaco. Bye.
Bye.